Oh, hello. I started this right when I yawned. Okay, that was gorgeous. Hello and welcome to another scene in Darkness in Dublin, where Baroness Karina is going to go have a talk with a couple people. The first on her list is Baron Octavius, Abdougal, who has been working on a rather big project. He hasn't really been seen out of his quarters much. Well, not really his quarters, but his workshop. Though he's been sleeping in his quarters, or blah blah, in his workshop, so they're kind of his quarters now. As Karina walks in, there's of course the plethora of craftspeople that are out and about, and we'll call it a courtyard. There's there's a garage, there's a forge. Well, there's an outside forge. There's another larger one inside of the castle itself. Not the castle. It's not a castle. It's not that big. Inside of the building itself. Overall, it's anything that it needs to be for craftsters. It's a craftsperson's paradise. She walks in. No one pays her any mind. They're all too busy doing their own thing. And there's a young pixie sitting behind a desk, and there's a small little. It's a beautiful desk, but there's a small little sign that says, "If you need help, just let me know." But he seems to be off doing his own thing, or he's lost in his own head. But there's a little bell.
Yeah, alrighty. Karina will, she's looking a moment. She comes on in, and upon seeing the help desk, she's gonna just see what's up.
She's gonna say what's up or see what's up.
She's just gonna see what's up, my bad.
Okay. Um. Yeah. There's a pixie sitting behind the desk. He seems to be doodling, and there's a bell. He seems to be lost in his own thoughts right now as he's doodling, though, so he hasn't noticed Karina, even though she's right in front of him.
Alrighty. Uh, she'll check out what the dude's doodling, but as she does so, she's gonna go and ring the bell. She's a little curious about what he's drawing.
He's What he's drawing is peculiar. Um, it seems to be a glade of some sort. It's very idyllic, if I pronounced that word correctly. I probably didn't. Oh well. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Y'all can get salty about it. Um, there's of course the small pond with various kinds of foliage and grass kind of around it, and there are trees. Um, when you think of the old fairy tale stories where the fairies would lure unsuspecting people to, this is where you would picture it. And he's pretty much drawing that out. When she rings the bell, though, he'll kind of sit up straight and say, "Oh, um, my apologies, Miss. How may I help you?"
Don't worry about it. I'm looking for. Maybe is he in?
He is indeed. He's in his workshop. Allow me to go tell him if that you are here and see if he is willing to have visitors. He stands up and heads down a hall. He's trying to be regal, but at the end of the day, he's a pixie.
Karina will actually kind of shout out to him, like not angrily. She'll say, "If you want, you can hand me back the stick. It seems you're very uncomfortable with it."
turns around and his face is flushed now, and he's like, ma'am? And he's still, straight backed, hands clasped behind his back and everything. But now he's red in the face as he turns to look at her.
You're a Pisky, right?
Of course, ma'am.
Does your Baron have you act like this?
No, ma'am.
Karina will kind of smile to him and say, then be a Pisky, it's fine.
I am, ma'am.
Whatever you say.
His his shoulders kind of slump ever so slightly. And you can swear you don't know how, because at the end of the day, ears are just cartilage, and they're not all that flexible. But the points of his ears kind of sag a little bit too. And he turns around and he walks off. His hands aren't clasped anymore. They're just kind of hanging at his side. As he mulls over what it is to be a pixie, his mind constantly goes back to, well, is it to be a pixie to just steal things and be young and mischievous, and to never have a set face? Can we not be more? Do we break out of this stereotype? He's turned into quite the philosopher, but it's all in his head, and he's not doing a very good job at it. But he'll disappear in the halls, and a couple minutes later he'll walk back. He seems to be deep in thought again. He's just and he's stroking a non-existent beard as he walks forward, and then he realizes, oh, I've got to do this job now. And he's like, ah, my lady, if you don't mind following me, the Baron will see you now.
Sure. Say you could relax. I apologize if I caught you off guard.
Of course not, my lady. Never.
Does his face tell a different story?
His face is still just kind of like, what the fuck does it mean to be a pixie? What is our thing? What is our meaning in life?
If it means anything, Karina keeps saying and I wondering the same shit about she.
Probably just means to have a stick up our asses.
Oh, what was that?
It probably just means that everybody's got to stick up their ass.
A little bit. Yeah. Karina will follow the Pisky.
He leads her down a rather long hallway. Off to the sides are various rooms. They are all of different crafting kind of things. There's an alchemy room, which you can tell has a very heavily fortified door. It probably blows up a lot. There's also a jeweler, there's a tailor, there's all sorts of things. If you need anything created or made, this is kind of where you go. And at the end of the room is a large door, which he pushes open and then, proceeds for you to motion to go inside.
Thanks.
Not a problem, ma'am. Or my lady.
Neither is fine.
He smiles. Inside the room is basically a shit ton of stained glass. It's all over the place. There are stained glass statues, various windows, and pictures hanging on the walls. All sorts of manner of stained glass. And then there's a statue that has yet to be filled in with the stained glass. So right now it's all just, of course, the interconnecting wires, and the outline is difficult to see. Um, Currently, uh, without the stained glass, and you see Octavius at his workstation currently cutting a piece of yellow glass, presumably to be placed in. And he looks over at Karina. Sorry, I don't know where my head is right now. He looks over at Karina and smiles and takes off his gloves and says, "Ah, Lady Karina, how may I help you?"
Lord Octavius, I was sent by the Duke to pass, and you have heard about the diplomatic unrest with Ulster, correct?
I have indeed.
There are efforts to the commoners of Ulster with certain weaponry. That way, they may be given a fighting chance against the rulership. Duke has on the order for you to some of. If you wish to double check with the Duke himself to ensure I'm not lying, then I completely understand. I did kind of just what do humans call it? Here and told you some shit. She nods, feeling that she got that right.
He gives you a really confused look and says, "I see." Okay. So I am to now create weapons.
Karina kind of like eyebrow kind of goes up. She's like, "Have you heard otherwise?"
I was told by Count Tintagel on behalf of the house to not create any weapons.
Does Tintagel represent his house in this matter? Did this come from High Lord? Out of character, would I know the High Lord of House Dougal?
Uh, what's your politics at?
Two.
I mean, yeah, probably. I'd assume that, like with politics 2 or 3, you just kind of know who the head of every house was, just in case you just fucking heard about them or something like that. Because I mean,
All
they're the
right.
head of every house.
So yeah, Karina looked to Octavius and asked. So Tintagel brought orders from High Lord Donovan.
I do not believe he did.
That is a peculiar matter.
It is indeed. Hmm. Either way, I will begin the creation of these weapons immediately.
All right, I will. I will make sure that the Duke knows of the predicament that you're in, and make sure that you receive no from any of your housemates from Dougal should they be offended by your actions.
He nods his head. Thank you. Do you know how many and of what kind that I need to create?
Unfortunately, I was not given a list, but if I were to guess, that simple to use would likely be preferred,
He nods his head.
and, and likely things that are easily hidden. That way, they may be by commoners. And they're against the Baylor leadership.
Hmm. Indeed. Hmm. More than likely, I will need. Yes. Yes. He pulls out a piece of paper and begins writing. Um. On the list, it's just kind of like I'm gonna need about 40 of these, 50 of these. You know, try some of this, a little bit of that.
Um, she will say, like as he starts noting things, she'll say, that you lack the proper materials if you have need of any of them. Well, for natural, I can supply you with that.
No, I will have all the materials that I need. Thank you. I have
Understood.
I have miners, plenty. But yes, I thank you though.
All right. I will go and I'll need to set things up properly. I'll ensure that Duke knows of the odd situation that has fallen on your doorstep. Kind of like she looks kind of she looks like she's trying to work out like why the fuck would Tentagel tell him to not make weapons? What the fuck?
He looks very sympathetic. Well,
like
actually, no, he's a baron in Dougal. He can't look too terribly sympathetic because house flaw, but or empathetic. Either way, he's just kind of like I understand.
but yeah, like on that note, she'll just kind of go ahead and head on out. Get another pleasant conversation between Baron Octavius and Baroness Karina as they just kind of tell each other what's up with
Hey,
almost no pleasantries.
hey, man, that's what happens when a Dougal and an Eason are in the same room.
Yeah, she's gonna be like, nah.
Um,
She finds conversation with Octavius refreshing.
they're really nice and straight to the point.
Yeah.
He will just kind of say though, is there someone who I'm supposed to be delivering these to, or just to the Duke's palace?
Sure. Was that specified yet or no?
I think, if I remember back to the scene correctly, um, they were just supposed to be brought to the Duke's palace, so that way Aurelius can send them where they needed to go with, you know, who they were going to send them with, as when he was told to start planning the routes and whatnot a little bit more than he already is.
Okay. Yeah, and then Karina will say, go ahead and bring them to the Duke's palace. They will be handled from there.
Understood. Thank you. He just kind of nods his head, and then goes back to writing down what you assume will be the next big order to go around this freehold.
Yep, and Karina makes her way out. She kind of passed by the Pisky again. Is he still lost in thought?
Yes, he's kind of there's a reason this is called the Barony of Stained Glass. He's currently staring at a out of a stained glass window, looking very still very thoughtful.
Okay, this is going to be Karina. This is going to be some of Kiara's memories bleeding out into Karina. And she's going to kind of. This is going to be almost like she doesn't know that she says this, but as she passes by the Pisky, she just says 42 and just keeps walking.
He will completely straight faced and everything look back at Karina and say, I'm not pondering the meaning of the universe, life, and everything either.
Karina looks back confused and she's like, "What? What?"
You said 42, my lady.
Why did I say 42? Why did I say that? And now Karina's lost in thought. There may be about 5 minutes staring out of this fucking stained glass.
Yes. There are other, you know, there are others who come and they're just kind of, you know what? A couple people come and take pictures and stuff because they're just kind of like, guys, are you seeing the same shit as I am? Like, come look at this. when Karina comes out of thought, there's like a small group of like people just kind of watching you guys because y'all were just completely like straight faced and everything, just staring out the stained glass window and thinking. You know what? One of the Boggins will kind of pop up and say, everything okay?"
42.
Excuse me?
What 42? What significance does this number hold?
I don't know. The Boggin says, but then the Pisky will come back and say, it's a book reference, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
The man that was in the bathrobe, yes.
The what?
Was he not in a bathrobe during a large amount of the plot?
I think so. It's been a while since I've read the book. Well,
Okay.
the trilogy anyway. I think it's a trilogy. I know there are just other books. I got to the restaurant at the end of the universe.
That was a good scene.
What do you mean scene?
Are books not also separated into certain scenes depending on literary device, like such as French scenes? Someone enters or exits? Why the fuck she knows that?
I mean, I guess you see it more often not in not books, but in movie scripts and stuff. And that's where you see it most often. In books, they're usually just chapters and people
Right.
leaving and whatnot. Mm.
You've given me much to think about. Thank you.
It's kind of the same. My lady. Yes.
She nods and starts to head on out. This bitch is gonna go reread Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy because this body fucking remembers it. The body remembers like terrible.
It's not terrible, no. And he just goes right back to staring out of the stained glass window, and everybody else who came to see what was up, they're just kind of like, meh. and they go back to doing their own thing.
Probably thinking Arcadian shit are fucking weird.
Weird. That's pretty much it. Um, by it I mean the whole weird thing. Uh, is there anything else that Karina would like to do?
She's just gonna touch base with Aurelius right quick, as well as the Duke.
Okay. Sorry about that. We had a little do there. Okay. So it takes a little bit to find where Aurelius stays because it is very, very weird. At the end of it, you are standing in front of a rather large aviary. The only bird that is very commonly seen at this aviary are ravens. There are a metric fuck ton of ravens.
She's okay with
Um,
this.
yes. A lot of them are kind of out and about. There are, of course, the cages in the aviariums itself, but the doors are all wide open. You can kind of tell they are never closed. They're just there in case one of them wants to sleep in a box for nesting purposes. And, food of course. There are blood-soaked biscuits and things of that nature. Every growing raven needs.
I'm sorry,
Um,
did you just say blood-soaked biscuits?
yeah.
All right, all right. I just want to make sure I heard you right.
Mm-hmm. You did. There's a guy I follow on Facebook, Raven Master. He's the Raven Master at the Tower of London, and he takes care of all the ravens there. And that's what he feeds them: blood-soaked biscuits as little treats,
Real biscuits?
like British biscuits. They look
All
like
right.
dog treats.
Yeah.
And he gets like cow's blood and shit, and he just soaks the biscuits in blood for the ravens. I was like, that's fucking cool. The more you learn. So there are some of those just kind of out and about. And of course, when a new person arrives, they kind of, I don't want to say they all flock over to Karina because they're not like crows. They're, more majestic ravens. But a couple of them are just kind of like looking at her like, oh, that's a new person. Hmm. And then off to the side, kind of hidden behind a lot of old vines, you can barely make out a door. And it doesn't look like a house. It looks kind of like, I don't want to say like a cliffside. Let's call it a hobbit hole for now. But creepy and weird. But there looks to be a door, so you can kind of safely assume if Aurelius is around, he's probably down there.
Are these birds like outside of their cages?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the doors they're all open. Some of them are just kind of chilling in there in the perches. A couple of them are,
Okay.
walking around on the ground, and then there are some just in trees and flying around and stuff. A couple of them
Sure.
are just kind of looking at Karina, though.
Are they like squawking at her?
No, they're just looking at her. It's kind of like, what
Alrighty.
is this person doing here?
Karina looks a bit regretful that she didn't get them biscuits. If she knew that she was going to run into this many ravens, she would have gotten some biscuits. Uh, Karina's also figuring this is how he gets all his information. Because this is exactly how I do it.
Who can play at the Change with a Gangerling game?
But she'll kind of make her way into the. Well, firstly, she'll kind of announce herself because she doesn't want to just roll up into a sluice place uninvited. That's bad news bears. So she kind of shout out. This isn't angrily. She's just kind of like throwing her voice.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Mordrake, it is Karina, Stormfury. I do not wish to intrude into your home, so I am simply announcing myself.
There will be a moment's pause, and you can hear. Actually, no, because that door is kind of thick. He will walk out, and well, he won't walk out. He'll open the door. Um, he'll say, "Ah, Lady Stormfairy, it is good to see you again."
You as well, Lord Mordrake. I apologize. Aurelius.
There's a soft, sad smile. Because all he can do is smile sadly, for he is Slua.
Yeah. Because he did tell her on the first meeting, like, go call me Aurelius, and she's trying to respect that. Um, but yeah, as he holds the door open for her, she'll walk on in.
This place I can only describe is, well, what you would expect from a Slua. It's an old, cracked cobblestone walkway that leads down and down deeper into the earth, and it smells not exactly of mold, but it smells like a crypt. A well-kept crypt. You know, it doesn't just reek of death. But it doesn't, it's not, it's dry. Let's put it that way. It's not dank and damp and, nasty. It's dry. There are more vines here. And there's every now and then there will be a torch that's kind of away from the dried vines so they don't go up and smoke and burn down his house. But you're led down pretty far into the earth. And by pretty far I mean it's just like, a flight of stairs.
Okay. I thought Karina's ears were starting to pop.
Nah, it's not that far. It's like one or two flights of steps, I should say.
Okay.
And then she's brought out into a big clearing. Not exactly a clearing, but pretty much what you can assume is his office main workspace. There are lots of spiders. They're in the corners, of course, doing their own thing. There's a very ornate mahogany desk that's got paperwork, and I swear to God, not a normal ass pen. No, there is an inkwell with a quill sticking out of it. And a little lantern. There's chairs. Well, there is a chair out. A small little tea set off into the corner. There are maps on the walls. They have pins in them and writing in a. What languages do you have, if any?
English and Norwegian.
Okay, then yeah, you wouldn't. Yeah, you don't have that particular one. So they're written in a weird language. Well, it's actually not weird. people can pretty much pick out Latin when they see it. It's written in Latin.
Okay.
Yeah, because this dude is just he's archaic like that.
I
Because I mean, let's be real. People have heard enough about Latin and seen enough Latin in shows and shit. You can pretty much catch it when you see it.
yeah.
There are notes written on these maps or stuck there with sticky notes and all sorts of stuff. Uh, and he looks really comfortable and at home here. He'll motion for Karina to sit in the chair, which is conveniently, already placed in front of his desk. You get the feeling he might have been talking to someone or something earlier.
Probably dead motherfuckers.
Hella dead motherfuckers. Because there's like a half written letter on the desk, or, half written notes on the desk as well.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
once, she has sat, he will sit as well. Of course, tidying up the desk and putting the letter back in his desk. Now, how may I help you this evening, Lady Stormfury?
Well, I simply wish to pass on a bit of information to you.
Is that so? I'm always keen to hear more information.
Well, Baron Octavius will be providing you with the armaments that people of Ulster need soon. When I last spoke to him, which was about 15. Actually, she's gonna look off to the side. She has a really fucking hard time figuring out how long it was.
It was about 45 minutes ago, because he's Octavius, or not Octavius, Aurelius, blah, blah, blah. Can I fucking speak? He lives on the outskirts of town, kind of like not really in the forest, but like right in the middle on the border, because you can guess he has a lot of animal informants as well as, people informants. It's just kind of what he does. So he's kind of like right smack in the middle so that no side has a really long travel time to reach him.
Alright, so.
But, traffic and shit is really what slowed Karina down.
Narrows her eyes and she's suspicious of herself as she says it, but he was constructing the list of materials he'd need.
I see. Well. Hmm.
Also wish to ask you,
And what is it that you wish to ask?
well, how are things in Ulster right now?
You kind of cut out at the beginning. Did she ask how are things in Ulster?
Yeah, because she's kind of gotten like she has like general ideas, but she figures Aurelius would know more.
Things are grim as ever. There are many riots that have been taking place across the entire kingdom of the north. All of them have so far been squashed. They have been small, and the commoners are starting to understand more and more that they need to band together. Of course, the king understands this as well. roving bands of travelers have been stopped and harassed. Depending on how they act, some have been outrightly slaughtered, others have been taken to the kingdom for questioning, or to the castle, palace, whatever, for questioning. They seem to be losing hope, but at the same time gaining hope as they see more and more of their brethren being squashed and murdered beside them. I've heard rumor of a few nobles there as well. The ennobled commoners, the ones that are kept around mostly as pets, and who were given these titles to at the amusement, I should say, of the Shi. They are starting to help the commoners as well. They are taking up leadership positions, though whenever any of them are found, they are slaughtered and murdered. Many bodies hang off of the battlements. But, and he gets this kind of cheeky ass mischievous smile, or at least you think it's one. He's a Slua. It's really kind of hard to discern because it's just they always look perpetually sad, or at least Aurelius does. And he's like, and he'll say, fortunately or unfortunately, the bodies bring many, well, scavenging animals like crows and ravens, which leaves me in a very fortuitous position. But overall, the situation is grim. These new supplies
I'm
of... My apologies.
fine. I was just going to ask, when can we go and help them?
That is a good question. No one wants to very blatantly be seen going up there. The spark of war is so close to being lit. And it would be better to gain the help of the other kingdoms as well. Ulster is not one that we should battle alone. Not saying that we wouldn't be able to win, but there would be many casualties. The king is currently riding to the other kingdoms. We are waiting to hear back from them. Hopefully we will hear back soon. There have been many smuggling other weapons of war that they have around to the north, as well as food and medicine and treasures, mainly with variations of spring on them and things of that nature. But some are caught and they are killed, and the corpses of our people are thrown back over the border unceremoniously when they are caught. Which, unfortunately and ultimately, brings more kindling to this fire, this spark of war.
This waiting is I received orders from those above me. I likely would have taken a group of volunteers already, and we would already be launching guerrilla war attacks. But our commandments are our commandments. And it's not going to help them to throw fuel on the fire before we're properly ready.
Indeed. Would you like to know a secret?
Sure. Come up, their secrets.
You have heard the rumors of how the Scathach have left the city, correct?
I've heard a bit, yeah.
And only how Countess Minuet and her personal guard, this Aegis, are staying behind. The others went to their territory. Well, they did not just leave to go to their territory. They are headed to the north of themselves. To do exactly what you were planning. The thing, though, and the very clear distinction that many would point out between what you, my lady, and what they are planning is that they are more skilled than just a baroness and any volunteers. That is not to say that you and your volunteers shouldn't go, if you understand what I'm saying. I would suggest that you try to be careful. A group of changelings, a motley, shall we say. A motley crew. In an entire kingdom of malicious changelings who have been conditioned to be malicious because that is all they know, and be very formidable. And I would hate to see more people go and not come back. If that is what you wish to do, though, there are a few minor outlying villages that are being held, since they are the closest to our borders. If you wish to go and help liberate them, it would be one step closer to being able to more safely deliver any supplies that need to be delivered.
I will see what I can do about these villages.
He nods his head. I would ask that you keep this matter that I have told you about the Scathach to yourself. If it gets out that they are not headed back, and that they are indeed headed to the north, well, there is only one person that it could have leaked from. He nods his head, and then pulls out a map from inside of his desk, and it's a very small one. It's pretty much the border between Leinster and Ulster. And there are a couple villages that he marks with an X with his quill. It's a total of 3. And he says, these are the villages. Hmm?
Oh, I didn't say anything. She's just nodding along.
Oh, okay. My bad. I thought you said something. Sorry. Now, of course, if you get caught, it will be some time before we are able to properly rescue you. So, I cannot stress being careful enough. Make sure you are properly prepared. They are being held, each of these villages are being held with about 20 men or more, possibly.
Are there are there any significant? Are they facing any significant resistance yet?
Do you mean the commoners or the nobles?
Hmm. Well, the guard in these villages, are they up against them, or are they still unable to fight?
They have been forced into submission. The
Okay.
guards, one of them is very liberal in his use of sovereign. The others do not seem to have any concerning talents for any arts.
So if we kill the sovereign user, then they give us the breathing room we need.
Indeed. And then, of course, the other members of their party. Though, when they see that their leader is gone, they might turn, they might not. Depends, I suppose, if you can give them a better offer, which, considering living versus death, is a very tempting offer for some. Others might believe they could kill you. It depends upon the person, I suppose.
I'll definitely need a good for this. And someone to take out. Be aware of the title he holds. He is a knight or baron or otherwise.
Sorry, I must have lagged out for a moment there. What's she asking again, sorry?
Karina is asking the dude that uses sovereign. She's basically wondering what title he has.
Oh, okay. If I remember correctly. Yes. Yes. He is just a baron.
All right. So at least I can shrug off his attempts, but Lee very much less likely to be able to, unless. there are arts that may be able to lend them some support against that, but ultimately, that leader has to go down.
He nods his head. Winter.
It's hard
Winters.
and
Hmm?
correct.
Indeed.
Cor-
Sorry, I must be getting some fucking lag. My bad.
it might be me too. My bad. Real talk. Um, so yeah, criminal. I actually learn that very soon if I apply myself a bit. I'm not going to drag anyone that wants to come along with me on this situation where that art can be used on them.
He nods his head.
And Taj has also been in the Keltanoth issue, but I'm unsure if we can deal with handling all this.
Ah, yes. The Keldanoth issue. There is something I am concerned about. And I have not met this person, so I do not know if it shall be relevant or not. But the Queen of Ulster is a Severtal, the sister to Keldanoth. I am hoping that the familiar ties will not pull Keldanoth into action, but I am uncertain.
If they do, then very strong forward base county.
Well, I
And he's already done very serious damage. Does not want to see what else he'll be able to do into action.
indeed. And he has been very mercurial. I do not understand what his goals are or what he is trying to do, so I am unable to help on that front.
Karina will kind of bite her lip. Actually, bite it so hard she'll draw some blood. Um, bit and say, actually, you know what? She's not going to say that. She's not going to do that quite yet. But what she will do is say, might have some ways for handling, well, getting the information we need in regards to that. To a dead end. Sneaking around, anyone does it. No problem.
He will hand her a handkerchief.
Yeah.
Since her lip's bleeding.
She'll wipe her thing off. It was out of character.
Oh,
She was told to be like, so I think Tantanzel might know.
okay. Because
She wasn't going for.
Hmm?
What were you gonna say?
Because I'll be real, like, I don't, like, I'm getting about, like, I don't, you keep, I don't know if it's like me or you, but every now and then, like, you'll just kind of cut out, so I hear, like, half of what you're saying, or, like, skips a couple words.
Okay,
Like,
my mistake.
yeah, like, I didn't hear that it was, that was an OOC thing. My apologies.
Oh yeah, no. She didn't actually say that.
Well, no,
Yeah,
the
that's.
biting her lip, though.
Oh yeah, she did in fact bite her lip.
Yeah, that's
Um,
why he was handing her the tissue.
yep, and she does take it.
Okay.
I kind of heard. She just got hella like a hot minute.
He'll then say, one does not bite their lip like that unless they have something they both wish to say and what they wish to not say. And he kind of gives her that look of like, you gonna say what you were gonna say, or you gonna be quiet. He's not gonna push, but he
Um,
kind of gives her that look of like, well, I'm all ears.
what Karina will say is she will say, I shall think. This avenue that I will be taking to of Keldenot's goals. I am want to unduly betray another before they have a chance to themselves.
He nods his head and then says, Lady Karina, there's really no need for you to speak in such veiled terms.
Very simply, then, there's one that I believe may know something, but I do not want to say one thing and branded or accused a traitor, at least not out of hand. So, not without getting all the information first. Though anyone can tales that I've heard and
He nods his head and then says, would this possibly have anything to do with the... no. Let me rephrase my question. Lady Stormfury, you are close to this Count Tintagel, correct?
yes, myself such.
Then by chance, Do you know if the rumors of the ghast he is currently housing are true or not?
Those those are true. I I was there when you brought her along. It's not like we could make a secret out of it. She kind of smiles as she flashes back to the squad carrying Tantagil's unconscious body through the changeling market.
Kinda, yeah.
Like, she was like, there ain't really no way to hide that shit. That's a thing.
Kinda, yeah. So, he'll nod his head. Hmm, I see. Interesting. Why? Perhaps.
Unsure. 1 minute, we were about to turn up. The next minute, Tintagel is getting his kidney removed, if I remember correctly, so that the gas may live. Thus far, she has not shown herself to be hostile to His Excellency, so I am of her presence.
Hmm. So he purposely gave his kidney to a ghast.
One that I understand is not involved in Keldenot's machinations. She was simply, at that point, a creature of the dreaming in need.
Hmm. I see. Hmm. Well, is there anything else that I can do to help you this evening, Lady Stormfury?
Clean away. Lay down it. Think of now. I do not know what Tintagel's idea was at the time, though I do have the desire to ask him. And what it is, I hope he comes forward. Because I think we've all seen that when these things are brought in for when it is time, than they did when they were concealed, such as was the case with Ranga. As scared as she was, when she came forward, she gave us some valuable information. Whilst I may not like what she did, I can at least appreciate the advantage he gives us now.
Hmm. Curious. I see.
Is
Well,
there something curious about that?
there's always something curious about a helpful Thelaine.
Karina's eyebrows go up and she's like, shit, I didn't think about it like that. Hmm. Damn, that shit made her think.
You found a dying Thelaine, to which the Count so graciously gave his kidney to. And now she is helpful in his
Oh, I'm sorry, I
freehold.
can't hear that, Kim. And now she is something.
Yeah. I paused for a moment to adjust my mic, I'm sorry. And now she is being quite helpful in his freehold. It could, of course, always be that she is thankful for the meal she was so graciously given. Or it could be something more. I suppose there are always two sides to every coin. And two sides to every person. Two sides to every problem. It is always good to delve deeper, but sometimes it is better to not. I cannot say I've had neither horrible experiences or positive experiences with the Thelaine. Occasionally it will equal out, which is why I just find it curious to see another helpful Thelaine. But,
And the,
my apologies.
in your experiences, he's helpful to Lane. How many of them ended up being helpful in the long run?
3. 3 have ever been entirely helpful for no reason other than to be helpful. They did not gain anything from it. 3 in my entire life. Others have been kind, of course, but they have expected something in return. Favor given for a favor owed. That sort of thing. Neither good nor evil. There have been many of those. They cannot escape their birth, but at the end of the day, they still feast on flesh and are the most unpleasant of the unpleasant. And then there are, of course, Thelaine, simply out there for their own. And then again, I cannot say that that is an entirely Thelaine thing either. I believe just recently there was an incident where a Cathane did some very unpleasant things towards another for their own minor gain.
Karina's fairly certain that he's not talking about her.
He totes talking about Azalea.
Okay, yeah, yeah, because Karina's like, I ain't do nothing like that. The closest thing I got was Margaret, and I didn't gain from that.
No, he's Toad's talking about Azalea doing horrible things to another Cathane for a minor gain in exchange.
Mm, mm. Backwards nonsense. Right. Right.
It could be that this helpful Thelaine is simply repaying the debt owed for giving, of course, the kidney, and is now paying off a solid debt. Or they are entirely helpful. Or there's an alternative reason. It's hard to tell.
All right. So I suppose what you're saying is I should at least keep an eye on her.
Lady Stormfury, in my very humble opinion, it is always good to keep an eye out on everyone. Those who you believe are your closest friends could end up turning on you in the moment of need. Such is the way of life.
Noted.
But he smiles and says, but perhaps that is merely the cynicism of an old grump.
Or the experience of one that's lived long enough to give the advice.
True. But you have to remember, in my line of work, how many times do I see the bad more than the good? I have unfortunately not gotten a taste of all. After all, if all I was to do was tell good rumors, I would have no use.
I suppose.
Indeed. But either way, the hour is growing late, and I'm sure you have other things you must do tonight. Or wish to do.
Yeah. I have one last stop to make.
Wonderful. I hope you have a pleasant evening, Lady Stormfury.
You as well, Aurelius. Thank you for the advice.
It is not a problem. Whenever you need, my door is always open. Just be sure to knock first.
So it was a good call.
A very good one. Thank you.
Korea kind of smiles to that. Um, and having clients her head to him and starts to head on out.
Yep. You make it out. The ravens are still just chilling. One of them walks. One of them don't really hop. They don't really walk. They kind of hop. So one of them hops over to Karina and does, in only the birdie way that a bird can, tilts their head and gives. I don't know how to describe it other than that look. But when you see it in the movies all the time when the ravens or the crows will kind of walk up and they'll tilt their head at you and just kind of look at you with that one eye like, you got anything?
Can Karina have? Ooh. Karina probably has some kind of snack on her. Um, with like Science 3, Animal Kin 2. Like, I mean, would a chip hurt a bird?
Not particularly, especially given you can kind of rationalize it because they've probably had worse. They're a bird.
They literally eat dead bodies. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll give them something. Give them some chips. She doesn't want the bird to eat too much and get too full, and bad things happen.
Get it. Yeah. Bird looks very happy and he hops off. And then there's a couple other ravens that all just kind of swarm over to that raven because they want the chip too.
She
And
just gives
so,
them. She will hand out chips until she doesn't have any more. There, she does not mind feeding the birds. On Aurelius's thing that specifically says don't feed the birds.
no, there's nothing there that says don't feed the birds. He doesn't care. And so,
Bitch.
hmm?
I said bitching.
Yeah, when they're done eating, they they kind of give that nod of like, yes, yes, good chip. And then they fly off and leave Karina alone. The pigeons have told of their shenanigans that Karina has done, and they're just kind of like, well, I don't need more shenanigans. I just wanted chips. So they head off.
Yep. Back in Karina's mind, Karina's just thinking, here I thought Albion was fucking Hibernia guy. Hibernia's on that next level shit.
Wait, what?
No, Karina's just noting the amount of fucking intrigue in Hibernia. This homegirl's from Albion, which has its own intrigue and shit. This is like next level.
Oh yeah, no, you came right in the time of war.
Yeah, she's like, hi.
You know, given that it's given that Dublin is a I don't know, I'm gonna call it a port city because I'm pretty sure there's a big fucking port in Dublin. I'm too far away from my keyboard to actually go look at a map of Dublin right now. But Homegirl could always get a fucking Viking ship and go raid the shore of Ulster.
That could be a thing. That could definitely be a thing.
would be a would be amazing. But yes, so she is going to go see the lovely, lovely Duke, correct?
Yeah. She's gonna be like, look, your boy got some weird orders, fam.
Oh my god, you're gonna go see the Duke. You know what that means. Time.
Philip.
Philip. So, everybody's lovable corgi Puka, which I have this very, like, I don't know, it's always in the back of my mind whenever I introduce a kind of nicest PC, or not a PC, but an NPC. I'm always afraid that you guys are either gonna kill them in a horrible fashion or fall in love with them. I took that chance with Cece. I was surprised when you guys didn't kill her, but I am afraid for Philip's life. Um,
Karina ain't gonna fucking murder Philip. Damn, Philip's alright.
yeah, but you gotta remember Evan is in this game.
Like, truth, like, yeah, nah, Philip, like, Karina finds Philip to be one of the realest motherfuckers in the whole city.
How is he one of the realest dudes in the city?
Like, look, homeboy's as simple as fuck. He's just like, hey, fam, what you need? I got you. Like,
I mean,
like,
yeah.
yeah. Him and like Baron Octavius. Yo.
True enough. True enough. So, You walk in, and of course there is Philip, and he kind of stands to attention. He's like, "Oh, hello, Lady Storm Fury. It's good to it's good to see you again."
Hello. Oh, I'm terribly sorry. Squire Philip or Sir Philip?
He gets this big old fucking smile because for once somebody actually remembered his name. He's like, "Yeah, yes, my lady, Squire Philip, at your service."
It is good to see you again. How are you enjoying the toy that Tintagel gave you?
Oh, oh, oh! It dances around a lot. I love it. It it's amazing. Of course, the Duke said I can't play with it on duty, but because I get distracted.
At least you have something to look forward to when you get home, right?
And he just nods his head.
Speaking of the Duke, we need to see him very quickly. Do you mind letting him know that I'm here?
Of course not, Lady Stormfury. Anything for you. Kind of nods his head some more, and he runs down the hallway. His little tail going 50 bazillion miles per hour.
Karina kind of chills. She's starting to. This is the. She's hoping this meeting with the Duke is the last time she's got to people today. She's kind of tired of peopling. She wants to fucking read the book about this strange hitchhiker going to other galaxies and the guide about it.
Yes, it's a good book. So, about a minute or two later, Philip comes running down the hallway again. He's just kind of like, okay, Lady Karina. Yeah, it's all good. If you don't mind following me.
Sure thing, Phil.
He looks really happy now that you're actually now that somebody's calling him by his name other than just Squire. So he's kind of got that little happy puppy look on his face. And then he will he will do his best to walk down the hallway and lead you to the Duke's office. Um, when you enter, the Duke will, do the whole little head nod of acknowledging your presence.
Karina will show curtsy, fuck it.
He will actually, yeah, there will be an eyebrow lift as she curtsies, because he was just kind of like, was not expecting that.
Oh my god, she's never curtsied to him. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, she's only like bowed, and he's just kind of like, is this fucking Karina? And he's just kind of like,
It's an imposter. Take her out.
yeah, no. He kind of gets that look, and he squints his eyes slightly, and his hand, no. There's a very small, imperceivable twitch because you've been around Minuet a lot. You know the hand twitch because when you see her hand twitch, something's about to be thrown in your general direction. And so his hand just kind of twitches ever so slightly, and he says, "Lady Storm Fury."
Good evening, Your Grace. Thank you for seeing me. And I must add, no, there has been no terrible calamity that has befallen the duchy.
Are you certain?
Karina thinks about it really fucking hard. Yes.
Okay
Because
then.
Karina's starting to understand the trend now.
Yeah, anytime she shows up in
Every
his
time she
office.
goes, someone died, some blew up, there was a fight.
Either way, it's not good. That's why there are so many reports of Karina, because she's usually the one in these fucking things. So he motions for her to sit.
Which she will. Um,
What is it that you wish to speak to me about?
well, firstly, Your Grace, simply that the orders have been passed on to Baron Octavius. Um, but that does lead me into the second thing, Your Grace, one that was a tad confusing, and I think you should know about just in case. You see, when I told Baron Octavius of your decree, I suppose, would be the name for it. And she'll shrug, but she'll continue on the same. Apparently, Baron Octavius received other orders from his housemates, the Count and Tadra, to specifically not. I do not believe he was aware of your decree, for he was not there when you made it. Though I do believe this would put a very odd situation, as it were.
Hmm. I see. Thank you for telling me this, Lady Stormfury.
You're very welcome. Again, I do not believe His Excellency was there when you had issued this order to me. And so I do not believe that his actions were a direct attempt to step on your toes. In case that was the impression, Your Grace.
Hmm. Of course not.
Roll perception empathy.
That's fine.
Because Korean's sitting here like these motherfuckers don't say what they mean ever.
He does kind of want to keep face, so I gotta. Shit, what is his pool? Oh well. Damn.
How many successes, Kim?
He only has one.
Damn. Watch me botch though. I did not botch. I just straight failed.
Oh, damn.
It's fine though. Two. Is this going to be a political incident?
With politics, blah, blah, blah. With politics too, what, sorry?
Is this going to be a political incident?
Yeah, well, with politics too, you can kind of guess that perhaps this count's getting a little too big for his britches.
Oh no.
Cause
Oh,
you gotta think about it. This count just kind of came out of nowhere, right? Just showed up in his castle, and tragic backstory. TM is currently trying to grab ennobled commoners, having them swear their freeholds to him, so he can get his county. Because while he thinks it might be on the down low that he's doing it, there are certain spy masters in the city who have been told to help the Duke out and tell him what's going on. So it does look like he's trying to get some land. So that's kind of a big tick right there. And then he's commanding the lower titled nobles in the Duke's court what to do and what not to do. It don't look so good. If you think about it, from that kind of perspective. So yeah, yeah,
this looks pretty bad already.
doesn't look the greatest.
Karina's sitting over. She's sitting over here trying to do well by her boy, but there's no way she can do it right now. Like that. All right. Karina just blinks. She just kind of looks at Duke. Your Grace, may I speak freely?
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Oh, sorry. She asked the Duke if she could speak freely.
He nods his head.
My friend's gonna catch some hands, isn't he?
Hold on. Oh no, I got the great response for this. He says, You have to apologize. I am not as young as I once was, and do not keep up with the slang that you younger nobles do.
So what Karina does, she kind of holds out like her palm, and then she puts her fist into her palm twice. So that's in her hand.
I can't. I don't know why I'm finding this so funny.
She's trying to use slang. It's great.
So, Karina, what did you do? Oh, I taught some slang to the Duke. Oh, really? Um. So he nods his head slowly. He says, that is an interesting way of putting it, but I suppose you did speak freely. As for your friend, I can't say it with a straight face. Hold on. God damn it. As for
Oh God, what did I walk into? Oh God.
Don't worry about it. Shh. As for your friend catching these he He says this completely fucking straight face. Kim can't do it, but he does. I am. It depends on what further actions he does. I understand that there is a certain. There are certain people in the city who would look upon what he is doing in an unpleasant light. But I suppose it is to be expected of counts.
I would, as he's my friend, I would rather not have any. It is in my interest that he has good well-being, so I suppose I will speak to him on the issue that and give his point of view on it to avoid misunderstandings, such as tonight.
Indeed. Did he have any word from the... What's his name again? What is his name again? Shit, where'd it go? Hold on. As I scroll through this big ass fucking book. Oh, my little document.
Kim, you have not gained a level and you have not won a battle. You do not get to do.
I do whatever the fuck I want.
Wait. Who are you referring to?
I think he said Kim.
No. I was asking you, Kim. Who you trying to bring up? Whose name?
Oh, I got it.
Okay.
Did he receive orders from High Lord Donovan for this? To tell Octavius what he did?
I do not know. I do not believe so, but I only just stumbled into the situation.
I see. Write down some notes real fast. Nods his head. Is there anything else, Lady Stormfury?
No, that was it.
Thank you for informing me of this.
Well, I did not want to attack His Excellency in Township of the Field. Nor did I want Baron Octavius to be put in a position as he would have to choose which allegiance he'd have to go along with.
Lady Stormfury. The Count is in no position to feel slighted. After all, it was not one of his... How to phrase this? It was not one of his people who was told not to do their work. When, well, he wished for them to do their work. Nor did he receive any letters or commands from those above him in his house to command the Baron to not do his work. It is this Count acting on his own behalf, and if he wishes to feel ways, then he can come and speak with me. Until
Karina's
then,
eyes don't necessarily.
until then, he can politely and respectfully stay in his place. Of course, I tell you all of this, since you are his friend. But while he may or may not understand it, his position is precarious, especially if the rumors of what he is harbinging in his freehold are correct. It would be best that he remembers that he is a landless count who is trying to throw his weight around, yet has none. Is that understood?
Out of character, Karina got none. She can say that. Fuck.
I just have to point out, hey Kim, is this House Fiona Duke totally endorsing underhanded warfare and terrorism?
No.
I'm pretty sure ordering weapons to be sent to the north secretly and underhandedly is an act of terrorism.
Terrorism doesn't exist in a changing mindset.
Yeah, not really. I mean, there's treason, but that's it. Which
That's definitely.
the Count is, well, or not the Count, but if need be, he will see the housing of a ghast as treason, but that is if he is so pushed. But anyway, so the Duke is just kind of looking at Karina. He went from being, kind of lovable old grandfather who just used catch these hands to fuck with me, bitch. And he's just kind of looking at Karina, waiting on her response.
Karina's kind of confused because she didn't know Maldrith was black. She's just like, yes, Your Grace.
Wonderful. Now, if that is all.
Yes, it is, Your Grace.
He nods his head and goes right back to doing his work.
Things Karina learned today. Number 1, I am not a goon. That in our house, like just staring at it.
Does Baron Octavius need to send her a stained glass window that she can put up in her house?
Maybe.
What is it with the she in this game and stained glass windows? Holy shit.
Hey, Octavius was here way before you brought your character in.
That's fair, but good God, it seems like we've got a fetish.
It seems that you have a fetish. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so Karina, when you walk out of the Duke's office, I'm gonna need you to roll me some Dex Athletics.
Fuck. 2 successes.
Okay. So, you're walking to the door, about to just leave the antechamber that leads to his office, and you remember, I'm in the Duke's freehold. There's a certain Scathatch in this freehold. Hmm. You kind of get that tingling in your bones as you open the door, and on a whim, you duck right as the butt of a knife goes sailing over your head.
Lesson number 2 Karina has learned today. I am definitely not a goon.
And so, just casually leaning against a wall, holding another knife in her hands, is the lovely, lovely lady countess. There we go. Minuet. And she just gives Karina a big smile and says, "Ah, wonderful. I'm glad to see I am keeping you on your toes."
Just an immediate improvement from your training, Minuet.
Indeed. It is quite wonderful, no?
Yes.
Ah, you've learned so much, yet still have so far left to learn. But that is okay. I've decided to stay here until your training is complete. Isn't that lovely?
Yes.
Ah, well, I had just heard from our lovely, lovely Squire Philip that you had been in to see the Duke, so I thought I would greet you on your way out.
Well, I do thank you for the hello. And she's not gonna look away from Minuet, but she's gonna pick up the knife that was fucking thrown at her.
She'll take the knife back and kind of incline her head in a thank you.
Yep.
Ah, well. I will allow you to go on about your business. I simply wish to say hello.
And then hello. And Karina will start to make her way out, not breaking eye contact.
Minuet will lovingly wave goodbye to Karina as she backs away. And then will turn on her heel and start heading back. When she turns on her heel and starts walking away, does Karina turn around as well?
Hell no.
Wonderful. I'm gonna need you to roll Dex athletics again, if you don't mind.
See, I knew that shit. Knew that shit was gonna happen.
Got a 10. I should probably roll for this as well. But I don't want to roll for this. It's gonna be so bad.
This time
I'll be
she'll actually
honest.
use the front of the knife, at which point everyone has a sad time.
Oh no, this is something completely different. Okay, wow. Wow. Fuck my life with that roll. Okay. So, you realize, aren't there 2 members of House Scathatch here?
Ah, shit.
And so you manage to jump up because you're just yeah, you know, Minuet's walking away. She's doing her own little thing. She's like, hey, Macarena. Anyway,
Sorry. Continue.
and you remember, yeah, there's Minuet's bodyguard. Hasn't been helping out with the training so much, but I mean, they're there occasionally being creepy and shit because I don't know what the fuck they look like. And then you jump up on a whim, right as the sheath of a sword flies underneath your legs.
Not today, Aegis. Not today.
He just rarely talks. And when they talk, it is usually to Minuet. So they just kind of look at you and nod. Of course, you can't really see much of them because they are fully clothed and wearing a hood. But it's not really a hood, it's a veil. But they will nod approvingly. And then kind of awkwardly reach out and just pat your head. And by pat, I mean it's just kind of like one little tap on the top of Karina's head before Aegis 2 walks away.
And so Rena starts to make her way the fuck up on out of there.
You'd get the feeling they'd do more if y'all weren't literally inside of the freehold. If y'all were on the training ground, it would be worse. In fact, maybe it would be best not to pass up the training ground on your way out there and just, like, head straight to the car.
Yeah, suddenly gets shoved into the training ground. People learn how much Karina can bounce on a floor.
Okay. So, is there anything else that you would like to do this evening?
I think that's about it, really.
Okay. So, thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been another Scene in Darkness in Dublin.